we are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week we wrap up our little Native American three-part mini-series with the Wendigo. And a little background on the Wendigo. It's a creature or an evil spirit from specifically the Algonquin culture. And it usually begins as a human who, in a desperate situation, turns to cannibalism. And this, in the spirit version, the spirit takes a hold of the person and possesses them to be a cannibal. Or in the creature version, it starts off as a human and then is turned into a Wendigo creature. And in some traditions, humans are overpowered by greed, could turn into Wendigos. And they could also turn into Wendigos by being in contact with one for too long. So basically, possession,
Yeah,
turning into one, greed, or just being in contact with one for too long.
just stay away from greedy people and don't eat people, and you're good.
Which is, just good for everyday life.
hmm So the Wendigo has some common powers, not super interesting, but they do have super strength, super speed, and then an overwhelming desire to eat human flesh, like we said before.
And then there are some different powers depending on the spirit and physical creature Wendigo. In the spirit version, it resembles a normal human since it takes over. It's just a possession of a human host. And in the creature version, it resembles a gigantic humanoid with a heart of ice. And it's also signaled by a foul stench and an unreasonable sudden chill.
So
I think we'll get into it later, but in like the creature version, there are some legends that state that it grows in proportion to the size of the meal it just consumed, so it's never satisfied.
that goes back to the greed again, just being very greedy, very hungry.
Exactly.
Now, Austin, I'm interested. Which version do you like better, the spirit version or the creature version? Because I know which one I like better.
I think the spirit version is more believable, or at least more likely to be real, but the creature version is definitely the most interesting.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I like the creature version better, but I agree with you that the spirit version, just it being a normal human, is more believable, I guess.
More likely.
Uh, so there are some theories behind what exactly the Wendigo or why people like start eating people in these like folklore. So one of them is Wendigo psychosis, which is a psychological condition named after the legend, the Wendigo, which is a desire to be a cannibal, a desire to eat another person. And then stories of the Algonquin people turning to cannibalism in desperate times, with cannibalism being frowned upon in most, if not all, the cultures, which I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah, cannibalism equals bad. And then there are some famous cases, and probably the most famous one is probably a case of Wendigo psychosis, reportedly involving a Plains Cree trapper from Alberta, Canada, named Swift Runner. And the story goes as such. During the winter of 1878, Swift Runner and his family were starving because they were basically in the middle of nowhere in the Canadian winter. And they were 25 miles away from emergencies, food supplies. So there's that. And Swift Runner kinda went off the rails, so to speak, as he butchered and ate his wife and 5 children. He eventually confessed when he got back to civilization and was executed by authorities.
Yeah, whenever I was reading up about this case, they were saying that, like, they said that 25 miles was not that far away, so he was not forced to, like, become a cannibal. He chose it, that's what they said, which I'll be honest with you, I don't know the conditions of, like, the roads or what, like, the winter was like then, so who knows if it was impossible for him to get to the emergency food supplies.
Remember, this was 1878.
Yeah,
This was before like vehicles were like even available.
yeah, but like that's why I was saying, like, in the page I saw, they were saying that 25 miles wasn't that far away, which, like I said, we don't know really for sure, like, what he had available, how, like, well he was adapted to, like, actually get there to the 25 miles. Who knows, like, what he was like or what it was like there. So, I mean,
Like at least in the United States, the first like publicly mass available vehicle was the Model T Ford, and that wasn't until the early 1900s.
mm,
So they're about 20 to 30 years away from the Model T.
yeah. So they probably did not have a car at all, possibly a horse.
Yeah, and like I was saying, it was the Canadian winter wilderness.
Hmm.
And if you don't know anything about Canada in the wintertime, it's not a fun place to be.
And then, Wendigo, or it's spelled differently for this, so Windigo, is the International Statistic Classification of Disease and Related Health Problems, their ICD, is what they classify this as, not Wendigo psychosis, they just Wendigo. And they classify it as a cultural specific disorder, describing it as a rare historical account of cannibalistic obsession. So basically, exactly the Wendigo, just like a craving for human flesh. That's what they classify it as. And the symptoms of this include depression, homicidal or suicidal thoughts, and a delusional, compulsive wish to eat human flesh.
So basically, Sabu minus You're just describing Sabu plus cannibalism.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Sabu, the WWE Hall of Famer. And the treatment for Wendigo psychosis in many recorded cases throughout history since Wendigo psychosis itself is kind of a more recent diagnosis has been the individual has been killed to prevent cannibalism from resulting from their probable psychosis. And Cree folklore recommends treatment by ingestion of fatty animal meats or drinking animal grease. And those treated may sometimes vomit ice as part of the curing process, which the ice part would be concerning since, humans aren't supposed to, our body temperature should not support ice.
Yeah, I agree. The vomiting ice was like the weirdest thing out of that for me because I don't know what the like thought process behind that is at all.
Maybe the heart of ice, I'm not real sure myself.
Oh, that actually sounds kind of correct. I mean, I forgot that they said that Wendigos have a heart of ice. So maybe the vomiting up ice is them getting rid of the Wendigo spirit or whatever.
Man, it would make sense to me if that's the case.
Yeah. And then like the ingestion of fatty animal meats and drinking animal grease, that kind of makes sense because if you have like a craving for I guess like flesh, like human specific, but like if you just ate like a ton of like animal meat or something like that, you're probably not going to want to eat human flesh because you're going to be fat. Like you're going to be full.
Exactly. And on to our thoughts. I personally think the story of the Wendigo is partially true, since I think it's Wendigo psychosis, which usually presents in Algonquin people and the other Native American tribes that believe in the Wendigo, and like other groups of people being forced into desperate measures to survive, but I don't actually believe that an actual Wendigo exists.
Yeah, kind of like you said there with it's basically just whenever people are desperate to survive or whatever. Wasn't the Donner Party, wasn't it them that ended up eating each other because they were stuck up in the mountains or something out west?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, there are like times that it is you're desperate to survive, but Wendigo psychosis is whenever you could survive without it, but instead you choose, I'm just gonna eat this guy instead, you know. I do not believe, kind of like Austin there, that there's actually a monster or creature of the Wendigo. But if you look through history, like there are times when cannibalism has happened because of different reasons. The Donner Party or Swift Runner there, where you kind of had to, kind of thing. But there are times when you had a choice. So I feel like people had tried to find some reason of why this was happening, why someone would choose to, and it ended up just being, oh, an evil spirit took over that person and made them do it. Kind of taking away the blame on the person and putting it on something they have no control over.
and this was like before when the Wendigo legend started. It was before like modern, you know, psychology was taking place. So that they were kind of just going with what they knew. But I think that's all we've got for this week. Next week, we're going down to South America, Peru, and to be specific, and taking a look at the Nazca lines. Any last words, Ethan?
Nodus, thanks for watching, everyone.
Well, thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, leave us a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, drop us a follow, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, bye, everyone.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Mary Laveau or the Rougarou. At Folklore Unlocked, Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The lore is locked behind secrets, the folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokoloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like the phoenix, coming back around again and again. The laser strain on your brain, if you've got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney is dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject